Hello, hello, hello. This is Coach Paula. Welcome to the April 2026 edition of Titration Talks. Titration Talks is our 30-minute lunch and learn that occurs the second Friday of every month. It's an opportunity for us to come together and to titrate one another, whether we're live together or if I present something to you. And so I'm going to be titrating this month at the intersection of order and awareness. We're going to talk about reordering anchors when life drifts. And so we're in the year of root in 26. We're in the second quarter. So we've done reflect in the first quarter. The second quarter is all about order. And then third quarter will be own and thrive. And so as we're in this second quarter of order, our first item in the quarter is to do order awareness. And then we'll do order intention and momentum in May and June. And so for ordering our awareness, that is the key today to understand and to have awareness-based decisions. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing today's lesson with you because ultimately today is not about fixing our lives. We're not going to fix anything here today. We want to acknowledge and recognize when things feel a little off. And it's all about noticing where drift has occurred in our lives and then what that drift is costing us. Because at the end of the day, drift is a normal thing. It is. Let's not negate that. It's a normal thing. And what matters is whether or not we name it. So what are our ground rules today in our 30 minutes? No problem solving, no future planning, and no self-correction. The job today is awareness. Awareness is the work of today. Deal? Let's go. So when I say drift, like what exactly am I talking about, right? Drift is what happens when anchors loosen quietly. It's not overt, it's not loud. It just kind of happens, right? It's very quiet because the anchors are not the goals themselves. The anchors are the orienting structures. They're what sets the direction when the pressure rises, you know? And so the goals ultimately tell us what to do, what we're accomplishing, what we're working on. But the anchors, they help us to determine who you become under pressure. I always say you squeeze a tube of toothpaste, you squeeze it, the toothpaste is what's going to come out. So whatever's on the inside is ultimately what's going to come out. And so we got to make sure our insides are right, right? And so some examples about drift and how it can occur. It may be that our values get replaced by urgency, urgency placed on us either by ourselves, placed on us by others. Drift can be when convictions are replaced by convenience. Well, I know I should have, but it just was more convenient to do this. You're starting to drift because you're not honoring your core value or your intention of what you said that you were going to do. Or when our rhythms get replaced by reaction. I know I get caught in this drift one a lot too. Our rhythm of trying to drink more water and trying to be healthy gets replaced by a reaction like, oh, I just need to belch, give me a soda real fast. And I just said I wasn't going to drink my calories. So it's very important to pay attention when drift occurs. So I'm going to ask you, write or name in this sentence. I noticed things began to feel off when blank. Can you fill that blank in your life? When did you begin to feel things that were off a little bit? Okay, so if you know Coach Paula, I love acronyms. And so we have this warning sign here about drift. And so we have 5 components of drift. We're spelling it out and identifying what it is. So the D is when distraction grows. We get distracted, something takes our eyes and our focus now goes to something else. We were all set on this and now we're over here. So we got distracted. Our rhythms can slip. Like we had this great rhythm, like I was saying, Coach Paul is not going to drink her calories, drinking water, 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 water. And all of a sudden, oh, I just feel like I need to belch. Give me a ginger ale. Like I just drifted, right? Your intention begins to fade. Like, "Oh, yeah, I said I was gonna do it, but it's not really that important." You just kind of let it fade off. And I'm not talking about when we make real shifts and values or priorities. That's not what I'm speaking about. I'm saying when we have a core value or a core priority and we just kind of fade a little bit from it. Okay. F, our focus scatters. Like we're just all over the place. Oh, do this and that. Focus. I love the word focus. Follow one course until successful, right? Like let's hunker down, and let's follow this one course until we're successful. I know I've recently re-engineered some of the ways that I do some of my work. I used to just kind of have long bouts of working on several different things. Now I like to use the chunk block tackle method, where I take a chunk of work, I block a period of time, and I tackle it. And so it might be a 90-minute sprint, or I'm just going to work on XYZ, get it done, and get up and do something else, as opposed to just these long 4, 5, 6 hour work sprints. It's like that can mess up your focus, because it's like you're working on this and you start thinking about that and think, no, I have these definitive times where I'm working on XYZ, and that's my whole focus. So to prevent drift and my focus scattering. And then lastly, T, the truth gets distant. We kind of get a little bit removed from the truth and what we know. And so that's how drift occurs. Like I said, it's not loud. It happens very slowly. It happens very quietly. And so it's so important for us to pay attention to it. Okay? So now as we move forward, I'm sorry. I went all the way to the end, guys. I don't know how I did that. Let me go back. Okay. Okay. So let's take an anchor inventory. All right. I'm going to walk you through this guided exercise, and I want you to scan your whole life, right? Like, sorry, I don't want you to scan your whole life. My apologies. I want you to just think about your life in general, but I want you to identify one area in your life. You might need to scan the whole life to identify the one. Identify one area in your life where peace kind of feels thinner than it used to, because when we get drifting off, a lot of times we disturb our peace. And so identify that one area in your life. There might be more than one, but for this exercise, I just want you to focus on one area where things might feel a little bit off for you, right? Maybe that's work, or it might be your relationships. It could be your spiritual life, your interaction with God. Um, could be your time, how you're managing your time, or it could be your inner life. What's that inner voice saying? What's my relationship with myself? So think about that. Identify one, only one. Take a moment and do that. Now, you have that area identified. In that area, I want you to think about what currently is setting the pace in that area. Because you're saying something's a little off, and the pace is a little off in this area. So what's driving the pace? Is it deadlines? Is it the needs of other people? Is it fear of disappointment? Maybe it's habits. I've just gotten into a new habit of doing XYZ. Or maybe it's avoidance. You're avoiding something. Let's take a moment. Let's think about that as well. All right, so we got our one thing, and we have an idea of what's driving the pace in that one area. So let's dig a little deeper. Now, disorder, you need to identify the cost, because disorder always costs you something. And generally, peace is oftentimes the first price that we pay when we have disorder. And so I want you to think about, for that one area that you've identified, what has this drift cost you in this area? Did it cost you clarity? your energy, perhaps some rest, confidence, presence, or something else? Take a moment. Let's think about that because, quite honestly, some of us have normalized those costs. We don't even see them anymore. So take a moment and think about that. And as you're thinking about it, also think, what does it cost you? But then how do you notice that cost showing up? How do you see it? Not just in your feelings, because we may feel it in one way, but what are real concrete, tangible moments where you can see, yep, if I'm honest with myself, this is the cost of the drift. Take a few moments and think about that as well. Okay, so we've identified a drift in a certain area. We've identified what it's costing us. And now we need to get back to center. We want to reset ourselves, realign ourselves, and restart again, right? Because this is not about what should be leading. This is about what is leading. Remember, we're on an awareness activation here. We're trying to really understand what is really happening. And if we're honest with ourselves, what's been leading and causing our drift has probably been leading us for a while. And so, still focusing on this one area that we've identified, what has taken the lead role in that area that was never meant to be the lead? Now, as you think about that, remember, this is an awareness exercise. This is order awareness. We're not trying to replace it. We're not trying to correct it today. We're simply identifying it and naming it so that then we can do something about it later. But today is all about awareness. So what area has really taken the lead role with this issue that you've identified? Let's think about that for a few minutes too. To realize, place your hand over your heart or somewhere on your body that makes you feel calm and relaxed. And register this truth with yourself that nothing needs to change today for the awareness to really matter. Because awareness is the work today, guys. We're naming and we're identifying on today. Because ultimately, peace can then grow where that truth is honored. So we talked about drift and how it occurs. Let's talk about drift that call back to being anchored, because that's where we want to get ultimately, back to being anchored. And so let's take the opposite of falling away and create calling toward, right? And so when we look at drift from this side, we have D, you got to discern the shift. That's what we've been doing, identifying. We're doing the one thing today. You can apply this to other areas in your life. This is a tool and a resource now. So D is discern the drift. You got to identify what is happening. Then you got to realign your anchors. Okay, I fell off in this regard. I'm supposed to be here. Let me realign this anchor so that I can get back in order. Then I identify what matters, because that's part of the anchor, identification of what really truly matters. Because there's a whole lot of things that are happening, but we've got to focus particularly on the thing that is mattering the most. Then you got to firm your foundation, right? Make sure that whatever you're doing, this is root in 26, being rooted and grounded. So make sure that your foundation is firm. And then T, you got to turn back with intention. You got to keep that intention because we have this awareness now. Then we have to have intention about what we're going to do with what we've become aware about. And then as we move from intention, we move into momentum, where we build and we establish momentum or a driving change to implement it. That's the whole methodology of AIM: awareness, intention, and momentum. Our segment this month is ordering awareness. Next month, we'll do order our intentions, and then we'll close with order our momentum. So, what is your decision and the thing you need to do today? You only have one decision to make today, and that is simply this: I will stop pretending that this area is fine. I'm fooling myself. So that's my key for today. I've become aware, and I'm just simply going to make the decision to stop acting like this area is okay. Not fixing it today, but I see you. I've identified this as an issue or a concern of drift or an area that I need to address. And I am making the decision today to stop pretending that this area is fine. So name it. Because at the end of the day, what you refuse to name is going to continue to lead if you don't call it out. So let's name that in our lives on today. And if you want, if you have a piece of paper, you can perhaps fill in these blanks. The anchor that I'm becoming aware of is blank. I need the anchor of X, Y, and Z. Yet again, defined to this one issue that we're tracking on today. And then secondly, the cost that I'm no longer ignoring is blank. Can we fill that in as well? I want you to realize that awareness is not passive. This whole exercise has been about awareness. That's not a passive activity, but it is the first act of realignment. Because as we become aware, like I said, we set an intention for what we want to do about it. That intention can be, yep, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to make a change or do something differently. Or you know what? I'm going to let it be, let it ride. That's an intention as well. And so this awareness that we now have gives us the opportunity to decide what we want to do. There's a statement that is foundational to a lot of my coaching practice, that every moment in life gives you an opportunity to see who you are, what you are. And it also empowers you to decide if that is who you want to be or how you want to be. And so that's what this whole titration exercise has been about, empowering you to see something and then ultimately decide what, if anything, you want to do about it. And so our decision statement for today is that I choose awareness over urgency. I'm not going to focus on the things that are urgent. I'm going to focus on my awareness, and I will name where drift has occurred without forcing change. Today has been all about awareness. I hope that something I've said today has shifted your energy and awakened your potential in this area. And so I thank you for coming to Titration Talks this month. I have created some resources that are available to you. On the left, you will see a QR code for the pH drift tool. And it has the two sides of drift, how it happens and how to fix it. I walked through them earlier in the presentation. And if you scan that QR code, you'll get something you can either make like a screensaver for your phone or just something you can reference that gives you those steps, the DRIFT. So if you're interested in that, you certainly can scan that QR code. In the middle is an opportunity for you to provide feedback. I provide these opportunities to learn, but also I want to learn. I want to be sharpened. And so I solicit your feedback. I appreciate it. If you scan that QR code, you can do a very brief survey and provide feedback on this event today. And so that helps me to continue making good programs and programming that is relevant, and also to improve what I do and how I do things. So I definitely solicit your feedback. I hope that you'll share. And then thirdly, on the right is a QR code with registration to our next session for titration talks. We'll be at the intersection of order and intention. And for the month of May, on May the 8th, we'll be talking about sacred structures for a rooted life. And so that will be our titration talk on that day. So you're certainly welcome to download the tool, give the feedback, join us next month. And I have my website here referenced, coachlinks dot sorry, coachlinks.paulahollis.com. That website is full of information and the two lanes of service that I provide, either in the house of growth or in the house of healing. And so I certainly advise you and invite you to check out that website and all of the different programming, because Titration Talks is only one small portion of the different types of services that are available. So again, thanks so much for joining. I hope that you will join again at another time, and take care. Have an awesome day.